I'm Mario Martinez Jr., CEO and founder of Ingresso, and we are the creators of flymessage.io, the free personal writing assistant and text expander application. On each episode of this podcast, you will hear from sales leaders, practitioners, and influencers to help you grow your sales numbers at scale. So, get your pen and paper or iPad and keyboard and start taking notes as you're now listening to the Modern Selling Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Modern Selling Podcast. And boy, am I excited because not once, but now twice, I've had this individual here on my show. You may know him as the King of Sales. That's right, the King of Sales, international sales trainer, keynote speaker, best-selling author multiple times, and he's back with me, my friend, Mr. Jeffrey Gitomer. Jeffrey, welcome to the show, man.
Mario, thank you so kindly for those words of, they're just nice words of praise. And it sets a very low expectation for me to be and perform phenomenally. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, there's a high expectation here for you to perform very high here.
Okay. Let me throw something at you as we first begin. Modern selling is dependent on understanding what happened 100 years ago. When Samuel Smiles wrote Self-Help and Character in the 1850s in England, he set the platform for what people are doing today, literally today. And so you look at it from a standpoint of the history of it, and you see what's happening today. Most salespeople have no concept of what happened in the 90s, let alone what happened in the 1890s. And they're reliant on their phone. This is their tool of instruction or destruction. You can say whichever you want. But the bottom line is they don't understand the depth of turning a relationship into a friendship. Over the years, we've become friends. What's the value of that? You know, Mario Martinez calls me at 11 o'clock at night. I'm taking the call. He has something important to say. I'm going to find out what it is. He's not there to leave me a message. He's there to connect. And those connections, I've made more sales after midnight than any salesperson has made in their lifetime.
That is absolute truth that you're speaking. You definitely need to understand what happened in the past to understand what the buyer is expecting of us now in modern selling. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, and it started out by salespeople saying, or sales writers saying, tell the truth. Okie dokie. That's pretty fundamental. And you know, be a value provider, not a product pitcher. You know, hey, I'd like to come over and give you my 27 slides and bore the shit out of you if I possibly can. Or you could say, hey, I got an idea yesterday. I think you can use it. Can I come over? People will meet for an idea. They will not meet for 27 slides.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Jeffrey, do me a favor. Most people know who you are, I think. I knew who you were, that's for sure. But a little background about yourself and the most recent book that you published. What was that?
My most recent publish was a book called Get Shit Done. And I didn't come up with it. Matt Holt, who's now with Ben Bella, used to be with Wiley, called me up and said, you have to write this book called Get Shit Done. I'm going to send you money. I'm like, okay. And it was all about productivity. And I used a 100-year-old writer named Orison Swett Martin. He wrote literally from 1890s to all the way to 1915. And he was the grandfather of productivity in America. British, but a little religious, but still productive. And one of the most, he talked about the use of spare minutes, that people don't understand the value of utilizing spare minutes. But his most impactful quote to me in a book called He Can Who Thinks He Can, written in 1908, is every child should be taught to expect success. And so in my child's semi-woke school, I photographed the quote, made it nice and pretty, made 100 copies of it, and told her to put it on every teacher's desk. And it was more than impactful, I would say that. But it's a quote that's 120 years old. Well, how could it be so impactful today and be 120 years old? And the answer is study what happened, and it'll tell you what's going to happen. The past will predict the future every single time. Every single time. So my challenge to young salespeople that are out there that are looking for the fastest, easiest, quickest way to make a sale, there is no fast, easy way. And AI has complicated it to a point where they think, oh man, I can just go in here and use this as a shortcut and get an answer right away and send it out to my customer. I can tweet something, I can post something on LinkedIn, but what they don't understand is, yeah, we'll save you a little bit of time right after you customize it, right after you personalize it, right after you make it something that the customer will relate to and respond to. Relate, respond. That's what the salesperson is looking for. Will this customer relate to me? Will they respond to me? Or will they just look at it and go, and go on? The salesperson is looking to be that value provider. My career is based on response. I started to write in 1992. My first column in the Charlotte Business Journal was an immediate, impactful success. I had 2 clients hire me that week from my phone number that appeared in my bio. Then I did a column on Ty Boyd, he passed on, but was my mentor, and he did a talk on customer service and customer loyalty. And at the bottom of my column, I said, hey, if you want Ty Boyd's 51 ways to get closer to your customer, send a copy of your letterhead with the words Ty Boyd on it and just fax it into the Business Journal. It broke their fax machine. They got so many responses that they could not. So I ended up buying 3 fax machines in my office and was responding to faxes. I had a full-time employee doing nothing but responding to faxes because I kept putting it in every week. Another one, put the word loyalty in, put the word service in, put the word whatever. And I call them faxbacks. I have more than 100 of them. And that's what literally launched the fact that I knew people read what I wrote down to the last sentence and then took action. Think about that. I had an unbelievable storehouse of loyal readers. And my column ended up in 100 different business journals. And did you write a book? No, I wrote 100 columns and I made it a book. Think about, I could never write a book. A bunch of baloney. Anybody can write a book. All they need is valuable content or something that is perceived as valuable content.
Let's go back. I was going to say, let's go back for a moment and talk about this concept of AI and use of AI. Interestingly enough, I recently heard that a Fortune 1000 had their 2,500 salespeople sign a document that said they will not use AI in any communication with a customer at all, and or input anything that they have.
There's a reason for that. They're absolute morons.
You mean the sales leaders or the individuals that came up with that policy?
Yeah, the people that came up with that policy have their head in the sand.
Without a doubt, absolutely. Yeah, and it was interesting because, as you know, as a seller, whether or not a corporation provides all the tools for you to be able to do your job, I think the answer is no. And I think there's an expectation that as a seller, you're going to go out and find tools that meet your individual workflow, that meet your individual thought process. And when I was doing direct selling, on average, I would have anywhere between $100 to $200 a month that I would spend on personal tools that made me more efficient, more effective, more productive, helped me in my personal workflow. So interestingly enough, this organization made that mandate that no seller could use AI in any form. And if they were caught using AI, that they would be terminated. And that was the letter that they had to sign. And that was about 6 months ago that I heard that. And I thought, what on earth would possess somebody to do that? Now, what they were trying to protect, ultimately, as I started peeling this onion back, was the organization was concerned that their proprietary information about their products and services would end up in the public LLMs and would train the public LLMs, and therefore they were trying to protect their assets. And I thought, wow. So let's talk about the use of AI. First of all, if you're not using it as a seller or as a sales leader in some way, shape, or form, what are your thoughts?
If you're trying to protect your stuff, those days are over. There is no protection. Everything is in public. It may not be in the public domain, but it's definitely in public. Every book I've ever written, I'm going to go full-blown AI. I have a team of people that are taking all my books, all my YouTube videos, all my written words, and putting it into one pot, and then creating an avatar where you'll be able to literally talk to me about sales. That's the future. I'm not scared of anything. I'm not covering my butt. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a whatever. I don't know any better. I'm so stupid. I have 5 New York Times bestsellers. That's how stupid I am. And these people can't write their name without putting some disclaimer to it. You know, you get an email from a lawyer or an accountant. Their disclaimer is longer than the email. No, this is meant for the person. If you're not him, click here. Like, dude, go away. It's not how I grew up. I grew up and make friends and shake hands. That's how you made deals. That's how my dad made deals. And interestingly, I'm very fortunate. I live in an old factory that's turned into a loft building. I own 13 lofts in the building. 3 of the lofts I bought without a contract. I just agreed to pay the price and take over the mortgage. And you get to the closing, the closing lawyer is a friend of mine, and he would type out a 1-sentence thing that I agree to buy for X and they agreed to sell for X, and then we'd sign it, and that was it. That was the contract. And so far, that 25 years ago, nothing bad has happened. Isn't that crazy? So I'm not a CYA person. I'm a deal maker. And I'm a salesperson. I sold in New York City, where up yours is a greeting and everybody wants a bribe. And I sold there for years, making millions of dollars worth of sales, Mario, without ever giving a bribe. I have an ethic that I grew up with. I have standards that I'm a baby boomer. We have a culture. And we have a process, and we have ethical standards that we live by. And that doesn't mean our morals are the greatest, but it does mean our ethics are the greatest. And it's a family values thing. We had ideals, and we stuck with those ideals. So I'm challenging salespeople that if you're trying to get to that next level, go back to where you grew up. And that will help you understand. Go back to what your dad said, go back to what your mom said, and that will help you with your family values will help with your business values every single time.
Love that. So bringing it back to, all right, we both agree that sellers should leverage AI, but how can they take advantage of AI in what form or fashion? Because now everything you hear is product name AI, product name AI. I mean, everything is AI. Everybody's inserted AI into everything, right? So now, if you don't have it, you're missing something in your product. And that having been said, there's so much out there. What do you do?
Well, here's the deal. Right now, there's about 1,500 AI sites. There will be 10,000 AI sites within the next 5 years. That's number one. Number two, you can teach AI about you before you ask it a question. AI is smart. It'll listen to what you have to say. It'll remember what you have to say. It'll put it into its memory pod, and it will feed you back stuff in terms of you rather than in terms of what it has stored already. So you teach AI who you are, what you do, how you do it, and give it a few lessons, and then ask it a question. But salespeople have no patience, and they're not willing to go through the hard work that it takes to make selling easy. But once you get the information back, the key word is customize, personalize, modify to where it meets your customer's expectation, to where it meets your customer's need, to where it meets your customer's emotional process, and now you can win. But if you don't do it, if you don't customize and personalize it, you're going to lose.
Earlier, we were talking about, and I said the phrase contextual relevance to the use of AI. So as you know, in Fly Message, we released our Fly Engage AI product. And later on this week, we will release the Fly Post AI. And Fly Engage is essentially giving the ability of a seller to be able to have AI read a LinkedIn post. Let's pretend it's your target buyer, and it actually writes a comment back for you in various different forms. So you can do an optimistic, a thoughtful, a curious, or a custom prompt, whatever you choose to put inside there. And so with that in mind, we've released that. And I always tell everybody, even all of our training videos and tutorials, you must read it. You must look at it and see if it's speaking in the first person as if you were there at that particular event. Maybe your target buyer is talking about an event they were just at, and then the AI writes back, "This was a phenomenal, successful event." Well, that's not relevant. First off, it's not contextual to the situation, and it's definitely not relevant because you weren't there, right? So I think that's one of the problems is that, I've always said, and you've heard me say this before, Jeffrey, a fool with the tool is still a fool.
Yeah, I agree with that. So maybe the messaging that you send to people should say that this AI response is not customized. You have to customize it. This is a generic response. Now, that doesn't mean that in your AI system, if I sign up for what you have, the first thing I'm going to do is say, "Hi, my name is Jeffrey Gitomer. Here's 50 things you need to know about me." And I'm going to put that into your AI. I can enter stuff in there, correct?
In this particular case, no, we're actually not allowing you to train the AI. We've actually trained it on the back end ourselves in terms of being able to understand how to write a LinkedIn reply back, which is a positive reply. We've also trained it so that it won't create negative replies. Example, very interesting. Actually, I'm so proud of the team that when we did this. So I actually someone wrote a post, and it was about using AI on LinkedIn and LinkedIn commenting, and it was anti using AI. And I thought, well, I totally disagree with that, right? It's a total disagreement. And so I asked the AI to the prompt to do me a favor and write a reply back that was in disagreement. And what it did was it said, "I'm sorry, I am trained to actually write a positive reply. Unfortunately, I can't write this negative reply for you because LinkedIn engagement is designed to be able to create relationships, not separation." And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So that's one of the reasons why we've held back. Maybe a V2 or V3 version might be, more personalized to your tone, your voice, those types of things.
I would love to do something with you where we created a course in how to use AI responses. Because I'm challenged with it all the time. Every seminar I've done for the last year, people are AI sensitive, if not reliant. And they're looking for that, what's the fastest way? What's the easiest way? What's the best way to be able to make a sale? And the answer is there isn't. There's no fast way. There's no easy way. The way is the sales way. The more time that you invest in who you are becoming, the more time you invest in how much you understand the customer's process, needs, desires, and circumstances, not pain. Pain is out of my lexicon. The more I understand about the customer and the more I educate myself, the better of a responder I can be, because I'm going to do it on the emotional side, on the positive emotional side every single time. That's the way sales are made. They're made by, engage me with emotion and then prove it socially, and you have a shot at doing business with me. Because I'm going to Google you the instant I get something from you to make sure you're not full of shit.
100% agree with that. That's true. And that's why one of the things that we, in all of our training videos with respects to our Fly Engage, which is an engagement tool, right? It's helping sellers to scale that. One of the things that I always say to them is that you've got to bring your own personality into this, right? AI is going to write a contextual response back based upon what it reads and what it sees. But now let's add in your voice. For example, when someone does a new job, whenever the AI writes for me, it says, "You're based upon your background, you're going to do really, really well in this particular role. Congratulations!" Right? That's what it writes back. Now that's not me, so I would change that to say something to the effect of, "Look, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations! You're going to rock this. And based upon your background, you're going to absolutely explode the roof on this one." Right? That's how I would speak.
Okay, but give me something contextual about their background so that they know that I'm personalizing this for them.
Absolutely. Great point. Great point.
Your tech background is going to absolutely help you rock this. Your door-to-door selling is going to help you absolutely rock this. And so now they know I know. They know I know. And I think everybody, this is pretty interesting also. I have a Wikipedia page. And I'll ask people, "Do you have a Wikipedia page?" And they go, "No." I'm like, "Write one. You have your own Wikipedia deal. And that will be researched by Mother Google. And that will be part of what people say about you when you're not there." So this is what I tell my audiences. When you're done speaking with a customer, when you write them something, you talk to them, you meet them, they meet you, whatever happens, a Zoom meeting, they're going to say 5 things, one of 5 things about you when you're done. Something great, something good, nothing, something bad, or something real bad. And you choose. And the worst one of them is not something real bad. The worst one of them is nothing. What it means is you have not penetrated their emotional process enough to be able to trigger a one-button thing where it says reply. Just click reply. Please do it. Please click reply. And that's what the salesperson is hoping for. They'll check their email 28 times a day to see who has replied to them. That's the whole deal. And so,
wait, hold on. Let me go back. I really actually never thought about this. I love what you just said. You said at the end of a call, at the end of a meeting, there's one of 5 things that someone's going to say about you. They're going to say something great, something good, nothing at all, bad, or really bad about the individual. And the worst one is nothing at all, meaning you left no emotional impact. Hopefully it's a good one, but even if you left a bad impact, at least you touched the emotions.
Most of the time, Mario, people will not take the time to call you a jerk. They'll just think you're a jerk and do nothing. So the nothing bar goes negative way before it goes positive. Nothing is the key to negative, is the door entry to negative. Because most people won't bother. "I don't have time to deal with this jerk. I'm just going to ignore it."
Yeah. Or it might be something like this, which is very consistent. Nobody will give the information that you're looking for unless you take the time to have a 10-minute discussion with an SDR, and then they qualify you, and then they'll turn you over to a salesperson who can get you the information. And inevitably, I refuse to go through that sales process as a buyer, right? I refuse. And so I get these things and I say, "Listen, here's my buying criteria. I have a need, I have an interest, and this is what I'm trying to solve for. But I will not have a 10-minute call with an SDR that is only going to ask me questions relevant to an account executive." So it's one of 2 things. You either give me the pricing up front, or you book a meeting with your AE so I can have an actual intelligent conversation. Now, I'm a real bad buyer because people hate dealing with me in that regard, but I hate that process that at the end of an SDR call, I basically am like, that was a total waste of my time.
Right. Exactly. First of all, they could have Googled you and found out most of it. That's number one. But let's take it into the real world. Let's take it out of the SDR world. Let's take it into a regular customer service person. Because with you and I, you never know who you're dealing with. When someone sends me some kind of an email, I'll send it back and say, did you Google me? And they go, well, no, why should I? And I say, well, never call me again as long as you're alive. Thanks. Bye. And click. I just went, and we talked about it briefly before we hit record. I just went to my 60th year high school reunion. And I stayed at a hotel, which will remain nameless, but let's assume I'm a platinum for life and I'm a diamond for life in the 5 major hotel chains, which means I've spent thousands of nights in hotel rooms. And this hotel was pretty bad. So the general manager didn't record his own voicemail. He's in the hospitality business, and a woman recorded his voicemail for him. I'm assuming an executive assistant or something like that. What kind of a jackass is that to start out with? Okay, so that's my number one thought. My room was horrible. There was no phone. There was no cold water. It was just no internet. It was bad. And I'm a hotel rat. I can pretty much put up with anything. And they were a little rude to me. So I asked for the general manager's boss, like whoever owned the hotel, if it was ever in the chain, whatever. And they stonewalled me. They wouldn't give it to me. Now, I just looked at the guy and I said, look, wrong cowboy. And I called a buddy of mine that owns 250 hotels, knows who runs the division of this particular hotel. He called me and I said, do me a favor, call the general manager and tell him what a jackass he is. Okay, so that, you never know who you're dealing with in the world, and you have to treat everybody the same, like gold. And if you have that in mind as you're writing your email, if you have that in mind as you're making your follow-up or trying to make a LinkedIn connection, if you treat them like gold, you have a shot at it. And if you don't, you don't. You literally do not. So have you Googled the person before you sent that stupid email? Do you know who you're talking to? Have you customized anything within the framework of that? Do you know that where they went to school? Like, we just did a call the other day with the guys looking at buying our whole coaching program. So I look at his profile, and he's a basketball coach. Now, that has nothing to do with spending 10 grand to my company for me to be their coach and attend our meetings. But as we got on the call, I said, do you know who Jack Ramsey is? And he had heard of him. I said, he was the coach of St. Joseph's, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Portland Trailblazers. And the Portland Trailblazers won an NBA championship in 1977 using Jack Ramsey's philosophy of coaching called whole, part, whole. He was a doctor of physical education. Brilliant guy. Brilliant guy. And so I had this discussion with this guy about whole, part, whole. This guy's been a coach for 30 years. He's now going to sell it to his whole team. And he bought before I ever talked to him. He bought before I ever had talked to him about what Jeffrey Gitomer can do for you. That's it. No hype, no bullshit, no, it's only this a month, it's only $495 a month, whatever. He didn't care about that at all. I just gave him insight to be a better coach. Period. Now, think about that as a salesperson, because you're more interested in the 32 boring slides that your marketing department put together, and it's not going to work. Well, it's going to work 27% of the time. That's your closing ratio. Wouldn't you rather have it work 98% of the time? Like, seriously, wouldn't you rather do a little bit of extra work, modify the AI, go to the guy's website, find out what his LinkedIn profile is, and Google him so you have something customized and personalized to say, period. Otherwise, it is not going to work, and you're going to give a sales pitch, and I don't want to hear a sales pitch, and neither do you. You can give me the sales pitch of the decade, and I'm going to go, yeah, great. Okay, what else you got?
I think that's one of the big challenges that we've trained our sellers is to leverage what they usually get in onboarding here's how you present, here's our PowerPoint, here's our product overview. And we put them in the first week in training is all about product. But one of the big challenges that I see is that instead of framing it up as here's all about product, let's talk about what's the business problem that we solve. And then let's talk about how we impact that business problem. If you can actually take the time to understand the problem and then articulate how you have impacted that problem with data, information, case studies, that is going to be more valuable than spending and sitting time talking about product and PowerPoint slides.
And social proof.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to share a secret with the audience that I never share. Cool on this? When I get a call, a prospective customer wants to hire me to do whatever, coach or present, make a thing, I ask one question of that person every single time as I begin the conversation. One question. Mario, where did you grow up?
My answer is San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah. On which side of the bay?
Oh, I was actually a third of my life was in the Mission District in San Francisco, the rough and tough. The third was in Concord in the suburbs. My parents moved us out. And then from 18 years old till about 10 years ago, I lived in Berkeley and because I went to UC Berkeley.
Got it. So I now know enough about you to make a conversation, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've already made you think about your parents, your siblings, if you had them, whatever the circumstances are. Maybe your parents have passed on, maybe they're still alive, but I've given you an emotional beginning. And once I go down that road just a little bit and talk about where my favorite places are, I eat at the Taddich Grill, the things that I know about San Francisco, because I've been there an awful lot. I'm going to say, next question, how can I help you the most? Where did you grow up? How can I help you the most? Those two questions will breed intellectual and emotional responses, and they'll breed the truth.
I like that question, how can I help you the most? I actually use, especially when something is on the inbound. Just this morning, it came through with a customer that is headquartered out of India, and they have found us, Vingresso, and the head of sales enablement called me, and we had a great conversation. And I said, how can I help? Right. So as soon as knowing this is on the inbound, right, they think somehow, some way I might be able to help them. So I use, how can I help? That's what I use. In the end, after he described what he was looking for, I said, you know what? That's not us. But let me tell you two players who would be helpful. And then we spent another 10 minutes talking about my perspective on these two players in the industry. And then he asked me a couple questions of what do I think? And my answer was, now, you'll have to talk to them directly. But in my opinion, this is what you're going to experience. And here's the price tag that you're looking at. And then he says, do you have anybody else? And I said, I told him, one thing about culture that I know is that every time I've worked with an India-based company, you always want to start super small, $10,000 project. And I was like, and that's why so many of the corporations struggle, is because in the US, we're looking to solve a large problem. And we're looking to be able to help accomplish that large problem. But you can't, if you had a 3,000 person sales force, you can't solve it with just 10 people. You'll never pilot it. It won't work. Not in sales, education, and training. So I said, if that's really the goal, then I would suggest that you work with these two individual consultants that would take this as an opportunity and work with you. And it'll be anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000. At the end of that discussion, he said to me, I really appreciate you spent 25 minutes with me talking about helping me and not even being able to do anything for you. And so he said, at a very minimum, what I'm going to do for you is I'm actually going to go out and I want to download your software and see how I can utilize that. And I was like, fantastic. But I came here to help you because it'll one day turn itself back around and we build relationships, right? So that was really the focus.
There are so many things that salespeople overlook when they're trying to make a sale. And I don't teach how to sell as much as I teach why people buy. Because if I can find out why you buy, you're a customer. If I'm giving you my sales slides made up by marketing people who predominantly cannot sell themselves, I'm lost. But if I find out your motive for purchase, I'm in. I don't need my slides, or I may not need my slides. But if I don't know what their motive to buy is, why am I saying anything to them? So I'm going to find that motive out first. You know, what made you choose? What are you thinking about? How's this affecting your bottom line? What happened the last time you tried this? Just all the things that I really want to know that have nothing to do with marketing tools. They have everything to do with your personal sales skills and emotional connection skills that if you don't possess them, become a greeter at Walmart.
Hey, by the way, on that note, I literally just told my wife and my kids, I said, you know, there's two jobs that I've always wanted to try. There's no joke. I'm not even lying, Jeffrey. I'm not lying. I said, and the two jobs are, and then afterwards I said, actually, there's three jobs. Actually, there's three jobs. That's what I said. And then they were like, okay, what are the three? And I said, number one, I've always wanted to be a Starbucks barista. Now, I think I would rock that Starbucks like there's no tomorrow, right? People coming in, how you doing, music going, right? Like it would be a total vibe that they'd be like, wow, like there's a lot of energy going on here, right?
And I double pump for you today.
Exactly right. And I would probably upsell the crap out of that store. The second one is, no joke, a Walmart greeter. I think that being a Walmart greeter, I would love to try that for, a month. Give me a month where people come in and, there's many people who shop at Walmart are going for the buys because of the cheap costs. Many people are underprivileged and they're coming in and they have angst, right? But imagine what a smile and a hey, hello, how are you? What could do for an individual? And then the third one, here we go. I think I would kill this as well. I want to be a waiter at a high-end restaurant. Oh my gosh. I think I could upsell the crud out of that.
Yeah, exactly. I would say, listen, the key lime pie at this place is the best, but we don't have a lot of it. So if you tell me right now you want a piece, let me put it aside for you. And if you don't have enough room, you can take it home.
Absolutely. My wife and I went out to dinner and we tried a new restaurant. And I forget, it was the creme brulee and something else. So we were thinking about dessert, and she says, are you interested in the desserts? I was like, we're really full. She's like, okay, well, do you mind if I, share with you a couple of tips about it? And I was like, sure, why not, right? So she says, all right, do you like, creme brulee? And I was like, yeah, it's okay. She was like, okay, well, here's the story about that. She says, it's totally crusted. And then, the creme brulee, it's got the nice film. It's not too sweet. And then she just starts going into it, right as I'm hearing this, what starts happening? My salivating. I'm just salivating, right? And then she's like, but then there's also the churros. It was a churro something with ice cream, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's really my favorite. So she talked about this. My mouth is salivating. And then she goes to, that's really my favorite. Now, what does she do psychologically to me?
She upped your sale by at least another $5.
Exactly right. Because now I'm like, I was just salivating. I want the creme brulee, but now I want the churro with the ice cream. And so I was like, can we get both? And she was like, of course you can.
Okay, I'm going to throw something at you that I've shared with audiences for years. When I'm in LA, which is not frequently, but when I'm there, I eat a hamburger at the Apple Pan. I was just there a week ago. I stole the menu this time.
You thief, you thief.
Right. The Apple Pan has been in existence since 1947. And you go in and sit down at the counter, and the waiter comes up to you and goes, hamburger? I go, yeah. You want cheese on it? I go, yeah, Swiss cheese. You want sauce? No. Fries? Yeah. Coke? Yeah. And he leaves. And it comes in 3 minutes, literally, because the place is crowded. Waiter, can I get some more French fries? Right away. Waiter, can I have a piece of apple pie? Right away. Waiter, can I get my check? Right away. He's not telling me when it's going to be done. He's telling himself when to do it right away. The motto or the slogan of the Apple Pan is quality forever. Think about that. I wonder what company in this country has the balls to put quality forever as their motto, as their slogan. And the guys that are waiters there, they've been there for 30 years, 28 years, 17 years. You know, not long. How long have you been here? Not long, 22 years. This is a place in it, Mario, it's a dump. It's an old-timey horseshoe bar where people fight for their seats. It's crowded by 11:30. It stays crowded until it closes at night. They have one shift change. And it's the recipes, apple pie, 1881, banana cream pie, 1886, pumpkin and pecan pies, 1909, steak burger and hickory burger, 1905. That's when these recipes were created. And it says so on their menu. Is that cool or what? So, and it's only they have one store. That's it. They have one store. And it is mobbed from the time they open until the time they shut.
I'm just still laughing over the fact that you stole the menu.
I had to. But quality forever, I stole it for their slogan.
That's a great slogan. Great slogan.
Phenomenal. But I would want to ask my customers, could you create that slogan and live by it? Because a lot of people can't.
Fair enough. Yes. All right. Well, we're coming up to a wrap here, Mr. Gitomer. So do me a favor. What's the best way to get in contact with you if someone heard you here on the Modern Selling Podcast and they want help with anything, they want you to speak at their next event? Is it Twitter, LinkedIn? Well, actually, it's not Twitter anymore. What's it called? X.
Yeah. No, just email me personally, Jeffrey, Jeffrey, at Gitomer, Gitomer, Jeffrey at Gitomer.com. Just email me directly, and I'll answer your email. I'll talk to you, whatever you want to do. You and I are the same in that regard. We're looking for customers to not just contact us to buy something, but to help us learn something new about them. Because you can learn a hell of a lot from that customer.
And make sure when you reach out to Jeffrey that you tell him that you heard him on the Modern Selling Podcast. Please personalize it. We just got through talking about personalization with AI, so personalize this, please.
Yes. And I would challenge you that this is a time in our economy when things are a little volatile. And salespeople are looking for an edge. And I'm going to tell you, make your own edge. Make your own social platform. Garner your own social proof. Make sure that people can find you when they Google your name. You know, these are fundamental things that people are not doing. And then they whine about it. Well, no one can find me. Well, dude, build your Google reputation. Mother Google loves you. But you have to show her why or how. And if you do that, you're going to win. So I'm known, or I have branded myself as the king of sales. Google king of sales and see what pops up. And that's the challenge. Whatever you're known as, whatever you're known for, whatever you're known by, be Googleable, or else you lose. Someone else comes in from somewhere far away in the world and you lose. So I want people to have a good time. I want them to stay away from idiots, which is not easy in this world. And I want them to provide value to that customer in such a way where the value exceeds the price. When the value exceeds the price has nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter.
Want to hear a little secret?
Sure.
When I had you on my podcast many moons ago, I forget when that was. Oh, I know what it was. April 19, 2018. That's the last time I had you on my podcast. And the title of that article was Sales Best Practices from the King of Sales with Jeffrey Gitomer. And when you Google the King of Sales, we actually to this very day get traffic on the keyword phrase, the King of Sales. And we did that very specifically so that we could hijack the king of sales and bring traffic over to Vingresso.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. I'm going to tell you, Mario, you have created a brand that every single person that I've ever talked to that has interacted with you has something nice or very nice to say. And that's a mark of, okay, I'm doing things culturally the right way. I'm setting the right standards in this industry, not the example, the standards. And that's what brings people to you. And that's how you've gone from black hair to silver hair.
And a receding hairline. My hair used to start right here. It's about 2 inches back now.
I didn't say shit about that. That's okay. Now, there's a fun fact about me that I want to make sure people say, because you had asked me what's my fun fact that nobody knows?
Yeah.
Within the last 3 months, I've become a great grandfather.
Oh, congratulations.
I have 4 daughters, 4 granddaughters, and 1 great granddaughter. 9 women, all girls, all the time. And nothing could be better. Nothing could be better. I will also tell you, I don't know whether you follow football or not, but my 14-year-old is down the music rabbit hole of women. Between Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey and Olivia Rodrigo and Billie Eilish, like, I know their music. Okay. So I get a text from my daughter the other day on Sunday. I'm watching the Taylor Swift game. It was the Kansas City Chiefs, who Taylor Swift has this relationship with Travis Kelce, with what's his name, Kelce. And I think it's Travis Kelce, number 87. Yeah. But she's not watching the Kansas City game. I'm watching the Taylor Swift game. Think about that. Well, what she's done, what that one person has done in music and in business, she literally has her own country. She literally has her own economy. She's creating billions of dollars worth of sales.
Yeah.
Billions.
Yeah. I think actually her last ticket sales, if I'm not mistaken, here in the San Francisco Bay Area, the lowest price ticket was $1,000.
Oh yeah. And that's nothing. That's nothing. There are people that have paid 10.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. No, appreciate that, and appreciate that fun fact as well. All the granddaughters and daughters and great granddaughter now. Congratulations on.
They're all fans, by the way. Just so we know, we go to Eagles games together. We go to the bar where they show the Eagles games in Charlotte. The people are screaming the fight song when the Eagles score. I mean, it's wonderful. And your team, which I might assume is the 49ers.
It is.
We're going to have to kick the shit out of you in order to win the Super Bowl.
We're hot right now. It's very good. It's very good. Mr. Brock Purdy.
I know. We have to have just a private side hamburger at the Apple Pan bet on the 49ers Eagles game.
There's no reason why you should even try to bet, man. That you're going to owe me the hamburger.
Okay, well, my people will call your people about that.
Love it. Well, all of you listening in right now, make sure you reach out to Mr. Jeffrey Gitomer. Please make sure you say that you heard him on the Modern Selling podcast. And for those of you interested in some really cool AI technology that will help you be able to scale your prospecting and engage with your target buyers, make sure you download flymsg.io and try out the new Fly Engage product that is LinkedIn commenting with AI, along with Fly Posts. That is the ability to be able to publish posts using AI. All of you listening in, don't turn that dial right yet. Listen to this very important message right now. Thanks for listening to the Modern Selling Podcast. Please do me a huge favor and give the Modern Selling Podcast a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Oh, and don't forget, if you'd like to save 20 hours or more in a month and increase your productivity, go right now and download Fly Message, that's flymsg.io, for free. It's your free text expander and personal writing assistant. Hey, thanks for listening in, and until the next episode, good selling.